Kristen Halloran. This is an overarching question about children and religion in general. Theoretically, I agree that children shouldn't be indoctrinated until they are adults and able to decide for themselves, but I cannot seem to figure out what that would look like concretely for any religion. So many religions permeate everyday life. Keeping that from children would be impossible. Also, what religion would voluntarily give up its child soldiers? This whole thing troubles me, especially having small children that will one day be exposed to other indoctrinated children. Thank you for all that you do. Yeah, this is a tough one. I could answer this in some idealized, very unrealistic answer of, well, children should be, given a survey of all religions or given ideas about, how religion is just sort of something that people believe, and we'll get to that later in your life, and right now let's concentrate on the ABCs or something, but I know there's no way that's ever going to happen. People are so steeped in their religion, I should say, that as parents they feel it's their moral duty and obligation to pass it on to their kids. So rather than try to impose into the middle of that, which is just not going to happen, instead, what I think would be the best way for us to approach this on a more immediate level would be to really get the early years of schooling revamped a bit in terms of critical thinking skills in education. This is just the fundamental of all good thinking and logic and reason is giving kids the ability to figure things out for themselves. Because then they'll come to their own best decisions about things, and they'll learn judgment earlier than they might be learning it now. Common Core, I think, is people have to let me know about this in the comments who know more about this. I am not pro or con on Common Core. I don't know enough about it. I've talked to teachers who say there's some good points to it. It tries to teach critical thinking. It tries to teach reasoning ability and more logical thinking. I've also heard people, mostly older people, who look at Common Core issues and just go, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. I wasn't taught that way, so therefore it must be wrong. Well, that's not necessarily true either, but I get the point. So I'm not sure about whether it's good or bad. The reason I bring it up is because I understand that Common Core is an attempt to teach basics, reading, writing, arithmetic, but do it in such a way that it gives the child the ability to figure things out better on his own. And that's the whole thrust or intention with Common Core. Maybe it's working, maybe it's not. I don't know. Like I said, people can let me know in the comments what you know about it. But I would want something like that. If Common Core isn't doing the job, then we need to revamp it again. But somehow we need to get across to these kids at a very early age. I mean, right when they hit school, and in a progression all the way through to college, on how to figure out problems themselves and how to think things through themselves and how to see consequences and unintended consequences of decisions. The decision-making process, right? Thinking in sequences and looking at where, if I make this decision now, where's it going to go? If I have this belief right now, what would that lead to? What sort of action would that lead me to? What sort of consequences could exist or could happen because of those actions? Would such a belief get in the way of me learning new things? Or would it stifle incoming knowledge? If kids could see their way through that sort of thing, then they'll figure it out for themselves. I know this is all very tall order, and perhaps just as unrealistic as the idea of just cutting religion out of kids' lives entirely. But I don't know. I don't think so. I think we could do something about this, and I think this would be the most beneficial thing we could do for kids would be to somehow get that across to them. I'm not a genius or trained in education particularly, other than the educating that I did when I was in Scientology, where I was a classroom supervisor and taught people Hubbard's principles. But that did give me some grounding in how to get ideas from a book into somebody's head or across to somebody verbally. And I've tried to use those skills in my videos, and people have said I do a fairly decent job at that. So just based on that, I think that, you know, we could do better with our educational system, and I think we need to do better. And I think if, whether it's homeschooling, whether it's public schooling, or whether it's private schooling, I don't care at what level or in what, you know, model it's being done. All of these need to get those critical thinking skills across. So anyway, kicking a dead horse here. I'm sure I've made my point, so there you go.